Hey everyone, this is Kasper from BuildingPoint Scandinavia. Let's have a look at some tips and tricks. First off, let's go with changing the coordinate systems in a drawing. Sometimes it can be difficult for the production to see which way the drawing is oriented in case of an angle cut. In this case, there's a U profile, and we have a tip for changing this. Going to your parameter, fixed drawing main view, and set it to, for instance, back. After that, you go to your drawing properties, view creations, attributes, change it from free to fixed. After this, your drawings will always show the main cut as a back, and will do this always. So, no misunderstandings in the production. Sometimes you can encounter that when doing dimension lines, that the first point is set to RD and not 0. That would make more sense with a 0. You can go to your dimensions operations files. They are inside the message installation folder in Tekla structures. Here you can find your dim operation, dim RD mark text, and change the entry from RD to 0, or whatever you would prefer. After that, restart Tekla, and now the RD would be replaced with whatever you set it to. In this case, 0. Makes more sense. Let's have a look at something you can do with reference models. I would say feel free to use the relative search patch for reference models. This will make it a lot more easy for you, but also easier for the model, so lighter. What you do when using relative search path is actually telling the IFC file or DVG file, your entire reference file, that it has to look in the Tekla structure models and then go through the parameter. So what you're doing is you're setting 2 dots and a backslash. This makes it possible to move your entire folder to another location. Doesn't matter if it's to another folder or if it's to another device. You don't have to change the reference model's search path after this. Below you can see a few examples of what a relative search path looks like. And again, it's looking in the Tekla structure models. So no long C, drive, etc. search patch. Next up, again, reference models who haven't encountered an invisible model when inserting it. It can be several issues. One thing in particular, it could be a DVG file that has a newer version that Tekla supports at this current time. You could also find other errors by going to your session log files and look if there is a error message in the log file. It could be that it's corrupt or something else. If you don't see any errors in the log files, it may contain proxy objects. What is a proxy object? In a DVG, it could be a 3D content that is a small container that require a corresponding object enabler to be displayed graphically. These object enablers is not available for Tekla structures as they are native to the program that they come from. And they require this program to be shown. What you can do is you can open the reference file in the original application and explode the proxy file. After that, you save the file and it will be able to be shown in Tekla structures. If you do not have access to the original application, you might be able to use GVG TrueView, a freeware from Autodesk, as this is generally an Autodesk thing. If not, go back to the person who created it. Do you know the difference between lock and freeze functions for drawings in Tekla structures? Locking does actually not prevent anything other than manual changes to the drawing. If you do any changes in the model, the drawing will just as much show this, even if you've locked it. But of course, you need to unlock the drawing first. Lock is used to warn people, both others and yourself, that the drawing should not be open and should not be edited or deleted, and so on. Also prevents people from doing this by accident. A locked drawing can be unlocked by anyone, but they have to do it manually. Freeze, on the other hand, is used to prevent unwanted changes in associative objects in drawings. Changes to the model affect the drawing. Building objects such as parts, bolts, etc. are updated in the drawing. So adding extra functionalities, extra parts, bolts to your assembly will be shown on the drawing. But if you have deleted a dimension, it won't be regenerated when your drawing is frozen. Marks will be displayed in the same manner as before you made any changes to the objects in the model. Using freeze, you should be careful. And when you have made changes to the model, have a look at on your drawing, make sure that it looks like it should, and all the marks and dimensions, so on, are in the right place. A few more things about drawings, and a bit more. There are some very useful keyboard shortcuts for special letters. Could be the diameter symbol, degree symbol, and other specific symbols, plus, minus, etc. These symbols can also be added by using the symbol file and then inserting this as a text reference in your text objects. In 2022, Tekla Structures, you have gotten a new functionality. It's called Control Shift. This changes the visualization of reference objects in the same manner as Control and numbers, Shift and numbers does for part objects and component objects. Control Shift plus Create Drawing opens the drawing when it's created. So you don't have to go to your document manager and open it afterwards. Have you ever had a dialog box going off screen? Press Alt Space and M for the move, then use your arrow keys to move it into the right screen. Then you should be able to see it again. A little tip on rotation here. So we know this rotation point we have in Tekla Structures, the magenta point. It's going to rotate about it. We can use our shortcut keyboards to press Ctrl V and insert a point where we are going to rotate about. A lot of people love this, some don't. For new guys, it might be beneficial to use the other settings that's made for it, that you can actually go to Files here and go to Settings, and you can set an automatic rotations in there. Then what it will do is when you press your rotation button, it will rotate about the point where you have your mouse, just as shown here. Not pressing Ctrl V or anything, just rotating about the point where I have my mouse. And again here. One thing you need to be sure about is that you have to point at an object to get the most precise rotation. If you don't do that, you don't know where your point is actually being placed. Here I have it on the object, as you see. And if I try to press out here at nothing, it actually goes okay here because it's close to the grid. But if we go out a little bit further and press in the middle of nowhere, you see the rotation point. It's not that great. It's not beneficial. So press on an object to rotate. Best way. Next up, let's have a little bit of a look at temporary views. We all know these drop downs we have here. We can load any view section settings, sorry, and then we can go and give it a name. We can save our settings for something different. In this case, I'm going to say plus temp because then I know I'm going to add a temporary view. I can load the settings whenever I want to create a view. The best part about this is that I set this temp in a parentheses. This means that the view is not going to get saved. It's just going to be created. So I'm going to create a few views here. We'll stop here, one and another. And we're going to create one more just to show. And again, okay, this got crooked, but doesn't matter. It's a view. It's a temp, and you can see it in the name. I'm going to show them here. I have all my views here. If I go to my view list, can't find these views anywhere. They are there from now and until I close them, and then they are gone. So temporary views, just by making this setting here. So temp. Next up, work plane. When switching your work plane from your current one to the other one, you see that it's going red, view plane to work plane, view plane black, work plane red. Okay. Down here at the left corner, we have model origins shown. And actually what we can do is we can save our work plane. So if we go and create our work plane, I'm going to create a work plane over here. Just a little bit one there, 2 points. There, now I have my work plane. If you look down to the left corner, you're gonna see that it's changed to unnamed and there's no name down there. And this is actually the work plane I have here that's stored here. So what I can do is I can press plus. And when I press plus, then I get the ability to write a name here. So I'm gonna give it a name, just a little one there. And I'm gonna press plus again. Now I have my work plane saved. So I can actually now switch between my model origin plane and there we go. So now it's switched down here. This is my location for my plane. And I can go and switch back to the saved work plane. There we go. So now my work plane is actually stored and I can create more of these. And as I like. Next up, this is gonna be your best friend, new best friend, Alt P. Who haven't made a selection one by one here, like I'm gonna do here. I've done it a few times, more than a few times. Selecting objects one by one, going out there, going smooth, holding down control, clicking, and now I'm gonna click and I forgot to hold down control. My entire selection is gone and I have to do it all over again. And am I gonna remember them all? Don't do that. Press Alt P, like here. And you see, by magic, all my selected objects reappear as a selected object. Now I can keep on going, selecting objects again, and I didn't lose that much time. There we go. Alt P, remember it. Few tips and tricks for the organizer. Let's go through them. First off, let's save some time on your project. In this case, I have a small project here, and I would like to see how many different plates I have. I'm gonna click a plate here, and I think that the name might be the best thing to go with here, the most similar thing. So I'm gonna start the creation of the selection filter, add row, gonna select from the model, press my metal plate here, remove some of the unwanted functionalities, sorry, naming, press in the star for making it more versatile, and saving the setting. Now I have a selection filter. And of course, I need to make sure that it's active to make sense. So now I know it's active and I can select the objects. I'm going to start my organizer. When the organizer is started, there we go. Won't synchronize. I'll just select my entire model with my selection filter. So now all of my metal plates are selected. I'm going to go back to my organizer. Now you can see they're all here. I can press the grouping here, and I'm going to make a grouping by name. So now I actually have all my plates grouped by name. I'll go and make an export to Excel. There we go. Yes. So now I have a report made on the fly for my steel plates. Now I can see different types of steel plates. I have a number for them, how many there are, what the difference are. I can see the sizes and more. And I can manipulate this report to look what I would like it to look like. So how about reducing errors on your projects? In this case, we have the same project. I'll start my organizer because I want to use it to see if I have any errors. I'm gonna make a category, custom property category, for walls. I can use existing filters or I can create my own. It doesn't matter, depending on what I wanted to do. I'm going to add, and as soon as I create this, it's going to add any objects from the model that contains the functions in these filters. You can see here, I've selected, they are all here, my walls. What I want to do now is I want to check about the material. So I'm going to make a grouping. They should all be B35. But I have a few here that's a different material. So I'm going to select those, go to my model here, see a few walls selected, change the material. There we go. Press modify, go to my organizer and press refresh. So now I removed an error in my project by using the organizer without going through every object by itself. Simple. So object properties on IFCs, those can be used for filtering and more, also organizer. How to find them? You go to make an inquire object on your IFC object, the one you want some information from. In this case, I found the Bluetooth code on one of my IFC objects. After this, I can go and make a group filter, could be a selection filter, view filter, you name it. And I input it as when I would normally do with a Tekla object. But in this case, I just write external dot in front of the name of the attribute. Then I save it. Now it can be used again for filters, reports, and organizer, you name it. When you are using them in organizer, you can actually use them for creating automatic categorization of your IFC objects. Now, wouldn't that be nice?